Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a kind and gentle girl named Cinderella. She was known for her beauty, but her true beauty lay in her heart. Cinderella lived with her wicked stepmother and two stepsisters, who were jealous of her grace and charm. Cinderella's days were filled with chores and endless work, while her stepsisters enjoyed a life of luxury. Despite her hardships, Cinderella remained kind and hopeful, believing that one day her fortunes would change. One sunny morning, the kingdom's palace announced a grand ball in honor of the prince's birthday. Every eligible maiden in the land was invited, and the prince would choose his bride from among them. Cinderella's stepsisters were overjoyed at the prospect of attending the ball and immediately began preparing their lavish gowns and hairstyles. Cinderella watched quietly, wishing she could go to the ball too. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella's stepmother declared, "You are not fit to attend such an elegant affair. You will stay here and clean up after us." Cinderella's heart sank, but she didn't give up hope. On the night of the ball, after her stepsisters had departed, Cinderella sat alone in the garden and wept. Suddenly, a magical fairy appeared before her. "Why are you crying, dear Cinderella?" asked the fairy. Cinderella replied, "I wish I could go to the ball and meet the prince, but my stepmother and stepsisters won't allow it." The fairy smiled and waved her wand, transforming Cinderella's rags into a beautiful gown and her old shoes into sparkling glass slippers. "You shall go to the ball," the fairy said, "but remember, you must return before midnight, for when the clock strikes 12, your magical transformation will fade away." Overjoyed, Cinderella thanked the fairy and set off for the palace. When she arrived, all eyes turned to her as she entered the ballroom. The prince himself was captivated by her beauty and grace, and they danced the night away. Cinderella felt like the happiest person in the world, but as the clock neared midnight, she remembered the fairy's warning. With tears in her eyes, Cinderella hurriedly left the palace, leaving behind one of her glass slippers. Her beautiful gown and shoes turned back into rags and old shoes. The next day, the prince searched the kingdom for the owner of the lost glass slipper. When he arrived at Cinderella's home, her stepsisters tried to force their feet into the slipper, but it was too small for them. Cinderella's foot slid effortlessly into the slipper, and the prince knew she was the one. Cinderella and the prince were married, and she forgave her stepmother and stepsisters for their past cruelty. She welcomed them into the palace, teaching them the importance of kindness and compassion. The moral of the story is that kindness and goodness will always shine through, no matter the hardships one faces. Cinderella's pure heart and unwavering kindness not only won her the love of a prince, but also the respect and love of those around her.